guys, it's Gabe, and today I'm showing you how to make the Paris look from the Moschino Sephora collection Bare Eyeshadow Palette. So when you get this palette, it comes with a little booklet of a couple of eyeshadow looks you can do from different cities. And today I am demonstrating you how to do this Paris look. And after I've done my full face of makeup, this is how the eyeshadow looks. So, I hope you stay tuned and enjoy. So I'm going to start off by doing my brows, and I'm using this little sample that I got in this Sephora order for the eyeshadow palette of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade, which I've actually not used before getting the sample, but I used it a couple times and I was really impressed, so I want to buy it. But alright, so I'm going to start off doing my brows with the Auburn color, which is this one, in case you happen to have the same little brunette sample pack. So let's just get started, and I'm using the little compact mirror from the Moschino collection. So I'm just going to start doing my brow. So one thing that I noticed about this pomade, like the first time that I used it, that I was really surprised about was the level of pigment and like how soft this cream is. So I try and start with a small amount. I like to start by doing the bottom line of my brows and then the top. And then filling in the middle. So see, I've got an outline, so then for me it's just a lot easier to fill it in from there. And I sort of start filling it in sparsely, and I always start at the beginning so I get some of the extra product off my brush. And then when the brush is more clean, go into the middle to help like fade out the front here. Because, I mean, even though I really like bold brows, you don't really want the front part to be super harsh. So I just try and get like really the teeniest amount like back on that brush because it's so pigmented. And then kind of like sparsely fill them in, and then go back in when the brush has the less product on it, and then blend it out. And this stuff is really easy to work with. It's really soft and smooth, which I was like surprised about. I mean, I knew it was a good product because it was popular, but I did not realize how effective it was the first time I used it. I ended up getting like really bold brows. So see, there's the before and after. So I'm just gonna do the other brow and then we'll do the eyes. So today I'm gonna be using this great Moschino eyeshadow palette that came with the collection with Sephora. And I wanted to get this when the collection first came out, but everything sold out so quick. The only thing that I was able to get was the mirror. But they just recently did a restock, so I was able to get it, and I thought I would do this video. So I'm sure you've already seen the inside, but I'll show it to you. So it's got this really big mirror, and this top half is actually really light. It's not very heavy. It's like hollow in the middle. And then here are all the eyeshadows. They've got nice neutrals, like browns, kind of orange colors, purples, blues, metallics. And I've used this a couple times already. So far, I've been really impressed with the quality of it. And I'm going to use the Urban Decay Primer Potion for my eyes. And today the look I'm going to be doing is the look out of this little pamphlet that they give you that's got the different like city themed eyeshadow looks. And I'm going to be doing this one, which is on the black, the Paris, because they do give you step-by-step instructions, but they don't show you a picture of what it's going to look like when it's done. So we're going to find that out today. Alright, so let's get started. So the colors we're going to be using for this Paris look in order of the way we use them is number 1, Mesmerized, number 2 is Bound Brown, number 3 is Attitude, number 4, Twilight Blue, and then Magic and Angel Wings is the last shade. So the first thing I'm doing is taking this primer potion and just like a really tiny bit, like a tiny dot, and I'm gonna put this all over my eye, including all the way up to the eyebrow in the inner corner and spreading it all the way down on the lower lash line because we're going to put eyeshadow there too. Okay, now the first shadow we're going to use is, let's look at this, Mesmerized. And we're going to use a back and forth motion and put that into our crease. So this one is kind of like a terracotta shade. And tap off the extra because these shadows are really pigmented. They're not super powdery, but you definitely need to tap the extra off. So this one is just going up in our crease here with a back and forth motion, and I'm using like a big fluffy type of crease brush for this. So we're just going to put this shade down and build it up a little bit and blend it out on all of these corners here. That looks pretty good. We'll start with that because we can always build up more intensity later. All right, then the next step is to use Bound Brown on the inner and outer corners. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna use this kind of a little smudgy brush for that. Inner and outer corners. Okay, so start with the inner corner here. And we can blend this harsh line that's kind of like right here. We'll blend that up later, but just make sure that it's connecting like arc-wise with where you put that first shade. And then we'll get a little bit more and put it on this outer edge here. Take a little bit more and put that a little bit higher up if I can. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna take a clean brush that's kind of like a big fan shape and fluff that out and blend them together. All right, so now those are a lot more blended and we've got our blank space in the middle. So the next shade we're gonna do is Attitude on the center of the eyelid. Okay, so let's see, we need a nice flat brush like this. Take this shade. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna put it in the middle and it's gonna overlap some of that brown that we put on. So what I'm gonna do first is cake it on and then blend it in after, because I find that's kind of easier to do it that way. Okay, I feel like that is good in the center. Now we're going to take a nice brush like this that's clean and basically just kind of dust over the perimeter of where we put that bluish shade. It's kind of like a blue-brown duochrome kind of shade. Okay, so that looks blended out now. Okay, what is next? On the lower lash line, we're going to put Twilight Blue. Okay, so for that, we're using this like little smudger brush and take this bright blue shade. Wow, that is bright blue. And put it on our lower lash line. So I always try and tuck the brush underneath my lashes instead of just going on top, because then you don't have to worry about as much getting all over your lashes because you're just underneath. And I try to work the color as far up to the waterline as I can so that the waterline is clean, but the little spaces in between your lashes are filled with the color. And go all the way up. Take a little bit more. And I always like to connect whatever I'm doing in the bottom of my eyes up in this little corner. So it just blends a little bit better and it's not like just two different lines of color. And we're gonna leave right in the middle there open for another color. And let's see, we'll take a clean brush like this again and just kind of buff out the bottom to make sure that it's not a harsh line. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right, so the next step is to add the color Magic to upper lash line. Okay, so we can do that with this brush, just a nice angled brush. And Magic is a good, like, dark black. So let's see how this works, upper lash line. Yeah, it looks pretty good. They say to focus it on just the outer, so we're not going to focus on it looking like a powder liner, like really dark. I'll just keep mine on the more light and feathery side, because I feel like that's what kind of look this is, especially with the blue. Okay, so that's looking good. What is the next step? Next step is to brighten the tear ducts with the color Angel Wings. So for that, we're gonna take a brush like this that's kind of just like a little domed, flat shader brush, but mini. So Angel Wings is like the lightest shade of the palette. It's like a light pink kind of shade, and we're gonna take this up in here and then drag it along the bottom inner waterline too and connect it with that blue. I found that these shadows are really nice and they all seem to layer pretty well for me, so I don't find a problem with this last step or similar type steps where you've got to layer the colors. That looks pretty good to me. I think I'm gonna go back in with this smudge brush that I used for the brown color, and I'm gonna wipe it off and then add in some more of this Attitude shade, because I think that needs to be a little bit more deep. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go back in the middle of the eye with more of the Attitude color, because I think it needs some more depth, and pack it on back in the middle, especially more towards your eyelashes. Okay, once we've packed some more on, take a fluffy brush like this, but one that's not too fluffy so it won't ruin your lines, and just blend it back out over that arch. And let's see, that is everything. Okay, so I actually don't wear mascara because it hits my glasses. So for me, this is pretty much the final look, but if you wanted to, of course, you could add mascara and lashes. So I'm going to do my other eye and we'll see how it looks all together. Okay, so to finish out my face, I've done the eyes, done the eyebrows. I'm going to start with the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and then I'm going to use this foundation, which I really like, is the NYX Total Control Drops, and just blend that in with a damp sponge. And then I'm just going to use this concealer underneath my eyes that has like a lip gloss wand. This is from this brand. I don't know how to say it, but I actually got this on AliExpress. I think it works pretty good. It was like $2. And then I'm going to use the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. So let's get started. Alright, so first we're going to do this nice foundation primer, which I think works good for me. It really smooths out the skin. So I don't use that much at all. I maybe use just like that much, just like a little bit of a squiggly, and then tap it on all of my fingertips and kind of rub it in, and then just kind of press it into my face in all the different areas. Alright, so starting off with this drop foundation, what I do is start by getting a full dropper and just kind of putting a little stream of it on my cheek and blending that out, seeing how far that will take me before I add any more in that section. And I try and blend it up as close as to my eye and around my eyes as I can get, and then later when I'm doing some concealer, I'll get like a little closer and worry about it being more seamless. This beauty sponge I have right now isn't the best. As you can see, it beats my face pretty hard in order to blend, but it's what I've got right now, so I'm using it. I don't really want to pay, you know, full price for a brand name beauty blender, so this is what I've got, but it works well for me. I'm not very picky. So let's see, that looked like it blended out pretty good on that cheek. So I just do the same type of thing for the rest of my face. Just put a little bit and blend it out section by section, because I do not want this to drip down my face, because that has happened to me. So it's a lot easier to do it like this, and then you can always go back and add more. Try and get down my neck a little bit. Okay, this is looking pretty good. All right, now next cheek. So just do this method for your whole face. Okay, so now I'm taking my concealer, and I don't like to use a ton of it, so I'll just paint it on like this and blend it on one eye at a time. And I don't really worry too much about getting it too close to the eyeshadow, because what I'll usually do is just go back over some of those lower parts and fade the eyeshadow back over the concealer. Yeah, because you can see it kind of cakes it up at the corner, but that is okay. We will fix it. It's still easier to do your eyes before your concealer. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to open our palette back up and get this blue color, again, just a teeny bit, and run it back over. And then we're going to get our little brush again and get that bright angel wings color and go back over the inner corner, so then it is all good. All right, so now on to the other eye. Okay. And I usually don't like to do concealer anywhere else, so we're just gonna stick with the eyes only today. And then the next thing is to go in with some bronzer. All right, so to do my bronzer, I'm just gonna take a brush like this that's flat and tapered and get some of this and basically just contour. And I always like to do this with my glasses on because I can tell a lot better where it is going than when I do not have my glasses on and cannot see my face in my mirror. So I go in the cheekbone, under the chin. This also kind of helps blend in like your chin foundation. Do it on the other side. I usually put a layer or two. Well, I mean, I should say 2 or 3 layers, depending on how dark I want it to be. And bring it under the chin. And what I always like to do is take a bit and kind of bring it down my neck here so that I don't have this like weird tan face and not a tan neck. And then you want to take some and brush it up like around your hairline here, both on your temples and like all the way up at the top of your forehead here. Like this. And you kind of want to blend it into your hair, you know, without getting a lot of product in your hair because you don't want your hair to be up and there to be a line between your hairline and your bronzer. You want the bronzer to fade into where your hair is. So now that we're done with that, I'm actually going to use one more product I didn't show before, and it's from the same like O20, I guess, brand as this concealer that I got on AliExpress. And this is a highlighter. It's a drop liquid highlighter. These ones are called Custom Enhancer Drops. And this is in the shade Sunlight, so they're just in this little dropper bottle. And you shake it before you use it. And I'm going to take my glasses back off for this because I will get it on my glasses. And this I've used a couple times before, and it is pretty potent, so I just use like really just like a drop or 2 or 3 and put it like up near here where you'd normally have your highlight. Guess there's nothing in that tube. Okay, get some more. And just put a bit of this up around there, and then I kind of just start by blending it out with my fingers and take it all the way up. See, you don't need a lot because when you start blending it out, it kind of like more liquidy than it appears. And blend that out all up there. And you could take it on your forehead or your nose if you want. I'm not usually a big fan of that. You can just take the extra on your finger and do your Cupid's bow. But so that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to do the other side. You can cut. So my final thoughts on this palette are that I really love it. After using it a couple times, I am definitely impressed with both the quality of the shadows, the blendability, all that stuff. And I've done a couple of the looks out of this little booklet that they give. And I like all the looks that they have in there. They're looks that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before to do and combine those types of colors, like with this look. I think it turned out great. I like the brown and blue duochrome on top with the bright blue on the bottom. It's definitely very cool. So this gets my stamp of approval. So I hope you enjoyed me recreating the Paris look with the Moschino Bare eyeshadow palette, and thanks for watching.